Hello, hi. Myself, Dr. Shivaranjani, Head Professor, Department of CT, handling web technology for third BSc student. So, in Unit 2, we'll discuss about CSS layout. So, there are many different type of layout that has been available in CSS for designing your web page. So, in that, we'll see how to work the normal flow layout. Okay. So the first one is the definition for your CSS layout. CSS provide a several layouts option so that allow you to control the position of the HTML element as compared to the default position that would appear in the normal layout. So when you're using your normal layout, they'll have a less options or less priority will be available for controlling your layout structure of your web page. But by using your CSS, you can control the position of your HTML element. So where to be placed, in which place to be placed, and what color it should be looked like, and whether it should be aligned left, right. So all the layouts can be designed according to your need and or the designer need by the help of your CSS. So these are some of the various type of your CSS. The one is called as normal flow. The second one is called as a Flexbox. Third one is grids. Fourth one is float. Fifth one is positioning. And sixth one is your multiple column layout. So we'll see one by one how does this layout looks like. So this is the diagrammatic representation of your CSS layout. The first one is your normal layout. So in the normal layout, we'll have the header part, and the web page display will be looks like this. It will be divided into a different layout, such as header as one part and footer as another part. And in between your header and footer, you will have the content, and on the left hand side, you can have some kind of navigations, right, or the controls. So it will help you to navigate from your one page to another page. So this is the one of the simple example for your normal flow layout of your CSS design. And the second one is your Flexbox layout design in CSS. So in that, it also similar to your normal flow, but on the right hand side, you can able to see an thing that you'll have some kind of asides. Okay, there is an also in the content, it has been split into two parts. One is called as an article or a content part, and another one is called as an aside. So that will contain all the advertisement or the images or whatever the content you needed, you can add over there. So this is the difference between your normal flow and your Flexbox layout in the CSS. And the third one is your grid. So similarly in grid, it's also looks like this, but the appearance will be like slightly vary from one flow to another, one layout to another layout. This also makes use of header and footer, and they'll have navigation. Similarly, you'll have the content, and the content will be split into two parts. One is article, and another one is ads. You can have ads. So here each and every layout has been controlled by an CSS properties. Okay, so that is the structure diagrammatic representation of your grid layout. And the fourth one is your float. So here you'll have this is the web layout. So you'll have two sections. One is called as a float left and float right. So in the float left, you'll have the content related to the content to be displayed on your web page will be floated on the left hand side, and in float right, it will be content will be displayed on the right hand side as such. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation of your float layout type. And the next one is your fifth one is your positioning. So here in the positioning, you'll have the appearance of your positioning. It includes many edges such as content edge, padding edge, border edge, and margin edge. So margin edge is the an outer layer or shield for your CSS layout in the positioning, and it will also have top and bottom and your left and right alignment. And after that margin edge, you'll have a border edge. So in that border edge, you can set the color of the particular border. After that, inside the border, you'll have the padding one, so which will help you to merge your content and your border. And after the content padding, you'll have the content, that is the text to be displayed on the web page. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the positioning layout. And the last one is your multiple column layout. So here in the multiple column layout, you can use many layouts as a column wise. So as such the need of the designer, or as such the need of the user. So it depends upon the need or the mindset of the particular designer. So that's it about your normal flow layout. So next we are going to see about normal flow layout, how it works, and what are the property which has been available related to your normal flow layout will be discussed in this section clearly. So in normal flow processing, each display element has a corresponding box. So that in that particular box is called as an HTML element block box, is called as an initial containing block and corresponding to the entire document. So this is the starting one, which will contain the initial block, which will relate the some other elements also, such as your box of your child elements, sibling block elements, sibling inline elements. So this will be controlled by your HTML element box, or we shortly call it as an initial containing block. Okay, so in the case of your block of boxes of your child elements, so they'll contain in the boxes of the parent. So inside the parent, this child will be available, and the sibling block elements are lay out one on the top of the other. So it will be laying out on one top of the another, and sibling inline elements are one after the another. So it will be aligned in such a manner that one after to another. So that's it about your normal flow layout. So this is the diagrammatic representation of your normal flow layout. So you can see that you have a canvas and you have an initial containing block. Then you'll have a client area, we call it as a browser area, and that is paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. In paragraph 1, it has contained some wordings, and second paragraph it contains second wording, and third it contains a text as well as the images. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation or the systematic representation of your flow layout canvas. So the next one is the, in order to display the normal flow layout, this is the code which will be used for designing your normal flow layout. So you have to start with your HTML tag. So you should have the body. We can assign the border for the particular body, and I am assigning the body as solid, and it should have a thin red thin line, and it will also should have the HTML border thick, border width should be in thick. And then the padding is of 15 point, and the margin is starting from 0 pixel, and the padding 15 point, and the border should be solid, and the border of the particular page should be black. So 1 pixel to another pixel, it should be, or 1 paragraph to another paragraph, it should be black color. And then the top margin has been set to as 10 point, and the background color is set as aqua. So this is the block element only you'll be giving over here. So here in the body, I have just divided into 3 segments, D1, D2, and D3. So I'm just in D1, I have given ID, and D2 is second one, and B3 is the third one, and D4 is the margin for the top margin of the particular web page. So this is the diagram. When you save the particular program and execute your program, you'll get the sample output as such, right? So this is the HTML with a red solid line, and you have a body that is D1, D2, and D3, and D4. Okay, so here you have the diagrammatic representation or the output of the particular program. So next you have to know what is meant by a block element. So block element is nothing but an element with a value block specified for a display property. So here the user agent's tail specify the default values. Typically block elements includes HTML body, paragraph, dividing forms, order list, unordered list, and the heading starting from H1 to H6. And you can also have some other elements, except you cannot use order LI, that is table related to your inline specified for the display. So apart from that, you can use all the typical block elements inside your user agent space. Okay. So when block stacks, adjacent margins or collapse to the size of the larger margin. So here you can see in the diagram that if you not properly following the size of the particular margin or a block or a layout, then it will be collapsed with one margin to another margin. So here in the diagram, you can able to see that you have set two margin. One is border H1 and border H2. So this is one diagram and another diagram. So we have wrote code for first part and second part. And when we combining together in a single code and we are executing the particular program, you will get the corresponding output, the C as an output, right? So since it has been collapsed with the margin, so you should be care should be taken when specifying the layout design in your CSS. So the next one is initial value of the width property is auto, which for the block box means to make a content area as wide as possible within the margin or padding constraints. So the width of the box blocks increases as the browser client is widened. So here you can see that if you have two output, so if you are if you have the content, if your block is or if your layout is if you're not maximizing the particular layout, then it will be in first format. If it has been maximized, then you'll have this particular format. So it depends upon the need of the particular person. So the next one, the normal flow layout, you can also specify CSS length or percentage of the parent content width for the width property. So now I have defined the default width for the particular box for as 50%. So the width of the right margin is adjusted to accommodate change to the width. So similarly, you can also center by setting the both margin to auto. So if you have set the particular both the margin to be set to if the box to be fit center, then you can set the both the margin, left margin and right margin as auto, right? So in such case, it will be centered. Okay, so that's it. So next one is box corresponding to the character cells and inline elements are laid outside by the side inline boxes that are stacked one on top of the other. So here you can see that you can have a character element. So here the character cells, which is this some letters are fit to the particular box, but in some elements that is not fit. For example, some is fitted to the particular block, but whereas the big is in a capital letter and it has been the width of the particular big has been it is not fitting to that particular layout. So here you can in such case what it will do in the sense the box line will keep the particular content based on the height of the particular content you are displaying over the text. So next one is your padding, bordering, margining effect with but not height of the inline box. So here I'm just using the content for the particular box. Inside the particular content, I have display content as here some of the text. So I have created a class. I have divided the particular margin and I have named the particular margin as shade. And I have used the text that here are line of text. So in that particular, I have given the dotted silver color border, and it will be displaying on the particular boxes. So similarly, you can also have a specified value for vertical alignment to the position of an inline element within the line boxes. So you can also specify an inline vertical values or initial value of the vertical alignment can also be done by using your normal flow layouts. So beyond your normal flow layout, CSS allow for boxes to be positioned outside the normal flow. So for that, it will make use of relative positioning options. So here you can use, now you can see that there are content as well as the color, red, yellow, and green. So now the content there is letter starts from first letter is been added or it's been moved towards the shape called as red, yellow, and green. Okay. So this is the relative positioning. So next one is your float positioning. So here this float positioning will help you to allow the boxes to be positioned outside the normal flow. So here when you want to take your positioning or floating element, for example, I have used the floating element as I, right? So this being a span taken out the normal flow and floated to the left of its inline boxes. So next one is your absolute positioning. So in that absolute positioning, the spans are removed from the normal flow and positioned relative to the another boxes. So this is the absolute positioning. So next one, the properties used to specify the positioning are, you can have positioning can be either a static initially it will be static, automatically then it will be converted to a relative or absolute value. The element is positioned if its property is not static. The property left, right, top, bottom apply to the positioning elements. The primary values are auto or initial value or the CSS length. The float can have none, left or right. It will maybe apply to the element with the static and the relative positioning 1V. So next one is your relative positioning. It will help you to specify the positive value for the right property of the relative positioning box. Move it to the left. So now what you're going to do in the sense, I'm just moving to the right content, what we have seen already. So next, if it has been aligned or if it has been, now we are moving the position of the particular to the left of 2.5 meters. So this is some of the example for the particular float positioning. So here this will help you to specify the value for the float property. So here in that I have used a big num. So for that is it should be floating, right? So I is the floating element, it should be floated left, and the size has been XX large, and the float width is bold. Okay. So here you can also specify the floating point for the, you can also specify the value for the floating point by this classes also. So now I have used the big num and you have given a space, next space, and it should be in Roman numeral character. So next one is your absolute positioning. So this absolute positioning will specify the location of your corner of your box relative to the positioning containing box. So here for the positioning, I am used the P as an element. So here the margin will be left aligned for 10 EM. Okay. So next one is your absolute positioning that will help you to specify the location for the edges of the box related to the positioned containing blocks. So here, this is an example which specified that how to specify your absolute positioning in with the help of a left margin, and the point has been described, and after that padding at top and padding at left has been done in the particular absolute positioning example. So now the width has been adjusted for 8 M. In previous example, the width has been adjusted to 10 points. Now the width has been adjusted to 8 EM. So the next one is absolutely positioning box does not affect the positioning of other boxes. So second, absolutely boxes will point out correct exactly to the particular location. That is the diagram we have seen here. So that's it. Thank you for your patient listening. If you have any doubts, you can clarify your doubts in the regular classes. Thank you. Thank you all.